Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Ready from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Walker Ford, sunny Clearwater, Florida, and boy, do I have a comparison of all comparisons. I have two new 2019 Shelby GT350 and the Shelby GT350R. Let's talk a little bit about Mustang history. Goes back to 1964 and a half. The Ford Mustang unveiled at the World's Fair in New York City, stole people's hearts, created a revolution, a car culture like no other before it. Come in a man by the name of Ford Shelby in 1965. He takes the Ford Mustang, does some magic trickery and everything that he's learned as a race car driver, and turned it into one of the fastest road course racers on the streets. Here's a little fun fact. If you ever wondered why did he call it the Shelby GT350, it's because it was 350 steps from his office to the part of the shop where the first GT350 was created. Carroll wanted to mess with people's heads, and other brands like Ferrari had so many GT numbers and this and everything else that he wanted to just give them a good laugh and make them chase their tail. But let's go ahead and take a look at the freshly redesigned 2019. We're going to start with the Shelby GT350. So what they did was, I know by your regular eye it doesn't look like much change, but they actually lowered the hood a little bit. The front fascia here has been tweaked and nipped and cut just a little bit. They went ahead and redesigned the front grille area. Now on a GT350, this is the Shelby emblem. Silver backing with the GT350 logo. If you notice, it does have a front lip spoiler that goes underneath the upper part of the front fascia. And of course, behind these grills, you have transmission cooler, you have your engine oil cooler and all that, but that is the styling. Now it is wider than your standard Mustang. So you have aluminum hood, aluminum fenders that are wider. Let's go ahead and take a look at the GT350R. So the GT350R basically looks the same, except for here's some touches. A massive, large front splitter. That splitter has been added. It's going to produce extra downforce. Downforce is going to help you spin and keep stable in those turns. When you go up onto the hood, hood's been lowered a little bit, and just like the standard GT350, everything's been nipped and cut and tucked a little bit. If you want to know what is a difference that you can look for besides the splitter, that GT350 emblem there. Bright red stands for R. Also on the striping, the racing stripes, you have like a gunmetal gray here, and you have the bright red extra striping on the sides. That is the easiest way. When it comes to the hoods, hoods are exactly the same heat extractor on both. I wish on the GT350R they would have made this carbon fiber. But let's go ahead and check out the sides of these two GT350s and see what's different. All right guys, time to take a lap around the GT350. Like I said, there are some changes new for 2019. When we come around the bend here, here's your first change. That is an updated wheel. I like the gloss black, I like the design, still featuring those massive 6-piston Brembo calipers and a 15.5-inch rotor. That's gonna make sure you stop on a dime and get plenty of change in every corner. Aluminum hat is gonna help cut down on rotating mass and also keep that rotor a little cooler if you're gonna do a track day. Another new thing that involves the wheel for 2019, the standard GT350, if you could call a GT350 standard, now features the Pilot Sport Cup 2. That's Michelin's track day ready tire that was only available until now on the GT350R. The front tires here, you're looking at a width of 285 on the front, 295 on the front, that's gonna be your width, and then you have the 35 series sidewall here. So that's gonna give you your width, and that's gonna give you your height. As we continue down the side, this is the side extra fender flare that you get from a GT350. I love the logo, and that is a functional piece. Everything else is gonna be your standard Mustang affair. The fastback design, fastback quarter window into the large flared out fender. When we come to the rear, here is new for 2019. This is an updated, beefed up rear spoiler for the GT350. If you remember, the other one was a little bit lower and it didn't have as much change to it across the whole plane. This has some actual functioning pieces that have been built into it to give you more downforce. New for 2019, you can get a Gurney Flap across the back here to give additional downforce. If you ever wonder why they call it a Gurney Flap, it's because of a racer and engineer by the name of Dan Gurney who came up with that little extra piece. It really pays back big dividends. There's our GT350 logo. Like I said, it's that silver finish on the standard GT350, and then everything else, the upgraded rear diffuser area, still comes with the active exhaust, and then lurking behind here, you're gonna have that diff cooler. So you have transmission cooler, engine oil cooler, diff cooler. Let's go ahead and get to the GT350R and see what's different. All right, guys, it's time to take a lap around the GT350R. Remember, the R is that full race prepped track setup from the Ford factory available to you at Walker Ford. Check out these wheels. I love the design. If you're wondering what's different besides the design, these are actually carbon fiber. It's the first production car to ever have carbon fiber wheels. And when I mean production is like normal production car, not like a boutique car. Full carbon fiber wheels. This is gonna shed weight off your rotating mass. It's gonna quicken up the steering. This one does have the same Michelin Pilot Cup 2 tires. The only difference is they're wider. 305 by 30 series on these 19-inch wheels. Massive red calipers. That's another GT350R specific. Wheels and calipers are specific, and the same rotor. Now, I would like to see a more beefed up rotor, maybe something that's cross-drilled or even carbon ceramic on the GT350R. As we continue, same aluminum fenders that have been flared out for extra cooling, that GT350 badge. I'm gonna zonk it here. There needs to be an R here. They forgot a letter, so very important. As we continue down the back, same fastback style design. When we get to the rear, I just wanna point this out. The rear tire is even wider. This is a 315, so this thing is like a steamroller. And these Cup 2 tires, I don't care if you're looking at the GT350 or the R, they stick to the asphalt like Gorilla Glue. As we get to the back, speaking of sticking, a large, massive rear spoiler. This is painted carbon fiber, nice and light to give you maximum downforce. This will give you more downforce than the wing that's on the GT350. And then to wrap it out back, the only major difference besides the wing and the red pinstriping on the racing stripes is the red GT350 badge. Nicely done. I like the way they put it smack dab in the center. You have the same active exhaust. You have the same diff cooler behind the rear diffuser housing, and just very sinister white and black. But let's go ahead, pop the hoods of these two GT350s and see what we have lurking for us. All right, guys, we got the hoods popped on these two snakes, both Shelby GT350s. This is the R. I am gonna zonk it because at the end of the day, it's not really a bad thing, but it would be nice. The GT350R has the same amount of horsepower, same engine, same gearbox setup as the standard GT350. Let's see what we're working with. That is that Voodoo engine. When I say Voodoo, we're talking about that flat plane crankshaft. That's a 5.2 liter V8, 526 horsepower. It redlines at 8,250 RPM. It's hand built, has the names of the two gentlemen that hand assembled that motor. You can see the large strut tower brace on the front end, Magna Ride suspension. Everything for 2019 has been brought to the next level. They reworked the ABS, they reworked that Magna Ride. Let's go over to the GT350R. Same story there. You have your open air box, you have that Voodoo engine. Now, if you're wondering, well, what's the weight difference? If the GT350R has carbon fiber wheels and the other one does not, and the GT350R doesn't have a rear seat, what kind of weight are we saving? So 3,720 pounds on the R, 3,805 pounds on the standard GT350. The best part is they're both powered, getting the power to the rear wheels through that 6-speed Tremec transmission. The Tremec is such a joy to shift, and I think at the end of the day, this is the reason why I like the GT350s better. One of the reasons better than the GT500 coming out is because being able to roll through your own gears, so magical, especially with these engines. These cars are so balanced, and to have the R with the stickier rubber that's wider is gonna give you lap times that's gonna blow your mind. But let's go ahead and we're gonna fire up one of these GT350s. All right, guys, we're inside the GT350. We're gonna start here. If you're wondering, well, what is the price of this particular one? MSRP on this one is around $63,000. Let's see what you get with the GT350. So door panels all look the same, no matter what type of Mustang you're in, same style, but on the GT350, you have that gray Alcantara with the white contrast stitching. It gives it a very nice touch, and the armrest is a very nice soft material, which is great to see. As you go from the door panel to the dash, new for 2019, this is an option. The optional carbon fiber on the dash, it's $500, well worth it, looks great, it's wet weave. There's your GT350 logo, your chassis number, you have oil pressure, oil temp. This one has the B&O tech package with full navigation and everything. You have your air conditioning controls. This doesn't have heated or AC seats because these are Recaros. Push button start, of course. You have your blacked out toggle switches, USB, 12 volt, and then this is what I was telling you about, that Tremec 6-speed transmission. Such a joy to shift through. Softer material on here, but there's still Mustang GT affair. I wish they would have taken some of the contrast stitching and brought it into the e-brake, so that is a zonk, but the seats. Love the seats, especially with the gray Alcantara, the black trim, the GT350 logo, very nicely done. They hold you in perfectly. They're not like vice grips. And then I'm gonna go ahead and move the seat for Tom to show that the GT350 has a full back seat just like a Mustang GT. So you could take some people, put them back there. Is it super comfortable? No, but hey, if you need that extra space, it's there. I'm not gonna show you behind the wheel because there's really nothing much different behind the wheel on the business end between the 350 and the R. So let's go ahead and get to the R so I can show you the business end. All right, guys, before the business end, we need to compare the passenger side. Plus, I want to tell you about price. If you're wondering about price on this particular one, you're looking at around an MSRP of $72,000. So you could see the difference from going from the standard GT350 to the R. Let's see what you get. On the door panels, like I said, it's regular Mustang affair. The difference is on the GT350R, that's black Alcantara. I love the red contrast stitching. That red theme is carried from outside to inside. Nicely done. When we go from the door panel to the dash, this has the optional $500 optional carbon fiber. And then check out your chassis number there. GT350R specific badging. I like to see that. You have your same oil pressure, oil temp. Now with the R, they come from the factory with no AC and whatnot. This one has been optioned back in. So you have your full B&O navigation tech package, no heated or air conditioned seats, but you do have air condition. And then you have your toggle switches. Remember, LC launch control. Same USB, same 12 volt, and that same slick shifting 6-speed Tremec transmission. Probably one of the best transmissions I've ever shifted in my life. And this is what makes driving so worthwhile. When you're sleeping at night and you're dreaming of driving, this is what you're dreaming of, whether you remember it or not. Just so you know, you always have a dream, whether you remember it or not. Here's the R seats. R embroidery. I love the red Alcantara. Perfect feel, perfect fit and finish. And then watch this. And the GT350R, no back seat. Back seat delete, you cannot option it back, but you do have the ability to just save some weight. And that's what this car is about, saving the weight on the wheels, saving the weight on the back seat. Come on over to the business end. It's time to take a look of what it's like to be behind the wheel of a GT350R. All right, guys, business end, behind the wheel. One thing I want to point out, remember, these are Ford Performance products. So what that means is you buy a GT350R or a GT350, Ford is going to give you a free day at their racing school over in Salt Lake City, Utah. I highly recommend you get the plane ticket and go. You get to take somebody else's GT350R out onto the track. Love the wheel. Love the way they have the red striping. Now on the GT350, the standard one, this is white and the stitching is white. But as you can see on the R, it's all red. And then what I really love about both of these, the gauges, they're just the old school analog stuff. You don't need any fancy LED screen or any of that garbage. You could go ahead and stiffen your suspension. You could go through the different modes very easily. Steering sensitivity, that's what it's all about, the functionality of this GT350R. And like I said, I'm gonna say it again, I like this car and I would buy this over a GT500. I don't care what anybody says. But it's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's wrap up this comparison. All right, guys, it's been another wonderful, fantastic, amazing day here at Walker Ford. how can it not be with two Shelby GT350s? Hopefully this was able to show you in one nice video what is the difference between the GT350 and the GT350R. I definitely got to give a huge thank you to Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, Benji, Mark, Austin, Kevin, Keith, Denise, Greg. Everybody here is so amazing, so accommodating to Rady's Rides. If these are the types of things you like to see, and I know that it is, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making this great content, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch by clicking the link in the description. Takes you right to Spreadshirt. Got to give it up for Big Guns McGee. I'm now calling him Tan Lines McGee. He's got the best tan lines here in the state of Florida. Look for him at your next powerlifting competition. Check him out on Instagram at Mosh Photos. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.